Welcome to my channel. These slides that are rolling by are an indication of some of the things that I cover on a regular basis in my videos. Once you have watched the video, I would appreciate it if you would click the like button and leave a small comment. It's really a big help to the channel. The YouTube logarithm, when it sees that, promotes the channel more and will be more viewers. I would appreciate that very much. Thank you for watching. Well, hello everybody. I'm in the process of establishing a small herbaceous border next to the greenhouse. It was a Ruth Stoat bed for a number of years. Grew mostly squash there, I think, but I turned the soil over and most of the straw has been incorporated down below into the soil. I visited my favorite garden center, Canada Green in St. George, New Brunswick. If you're from New Brunswick or the surrounding area, by all means go check them out. The selection there is amazing. Very large commercial garden center. What I plan to do now anyway is to give you a close-up of each one of the things that I have added, showing what it looks like right now, which is basically just the plant. And then after I show you each one, I will insert a photo of what it should look like when it is fully established and in bloom, or fully grown if it isn't something that blooms. As I said, I bought a lot of the plants at Canada Green, but I also have put a lot of the perennials that I have, and some annuals that I have started from seed this year, and that is Black-Eyed Susan there. Rudbeckia Black-Eyed Susan grows as a wildflower not too far from here, but I have never seen it here on the island. I've planted a few in this border, and I had a lot more of them that I've planted out in sort of a natural area here on my property, hoping to see if I can get them established as a wildflower. This is a heuchera, or coral bells, and the variety is called caramel. And it does sort of look like a caramel, a toffee or whatever that you would make. Grown mostly for the foliage, but it does have blossom early in spring, which is where it gets its name of coral bells. It's sort of a coral-colored little bell of a flower. This is an anemone from the Fall in Love series called Sweetly. I've never had an anemone in my garden before. According to the sticker, the tag that came with this, it is hardy for this area. So hope to see it bloom this year and hope to see it survive the winter. This is a phlox called Opening Act Blush. And if you see little white dots there, little white dots, you'll probably see on many of the other plants too, are slug bait pellets or snail bait pellets. Didn't want them to get devoured as soon as I put them in here. I love the fragrance of phlox. I think the only ones that I have left in my garden now are some white phlox, but they have a wonderful fragrance to them as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing this grow. This is a sedum, very old variety, called Autumn Joy, or Autumn Stone Crop. I used to have it years ago in another bed here, but have lost it a number of years ago. Autumn Joy is a very old standby variety. As I say, I had it in my garden a long time ago. Eventually, I guess I've lost it all, but extremely hardy. And this is a hollyhock, one that I've grown from seed. Started them sometime in early March, I guess, in the house under lights. Behind that you might be able to see a sunflower peeking out. I have both tall sunflowers and dwarf sunflowers. Tall ones are at the back and the dwarf ones are here at the front. I don't need to show you a photograph of what they look like, I guess. I love hollyhocks, and the variety that I've planted are single blossom like these, and a mixture of colors. Depends on which seed packet you're reading, I guess. I have two different seed packets of them that I'm growing. One calls it a biennial and the other calls it a perennial. Either way, I'm sure it doesn't bloom the first year, so I'm looking forward to seeing these next year. Well, there are 4 different perennial grass plants in here, 3 different varieties. Hopefully we're looking at that one. I can't really tell through the screen here, but this is Penicillium variegatum. Common name is gunsmoke or switchgrass. I have 4 grass plants that I've set out here, but I bought 2 of this particular variety, and it sort of bookends the other 4 plants. If you look at it thinking of a compass, these 2 are planted east and west, and then the miscanthus, the tallest one, is north. It's in the background, and the third one, which is coming up right in a second here, is in front. This next grass, I won't even attempt to read the true Latin name. It's got 2 names and they're a foot long each, but its common name is Korean feather reed grass. Not as tall as some of the other varieties, and that's why it's out in front, I guess. And this is the one that's growing in front of the 4 plants. It's also the shortest. Sort of reminds me of a pampas grass. Pampas won't grow here. Our climate is far too harsh for it, so I'm using this as a substitute. The third variety of grass that I'm growing is a Miscanthus sinensis, and the common name is Huron sunrise miscanthus. It is showing right now with purple foliage. I think that's just early season. It turns green, and it will be the tallest of the ones that I've put in. 5 to 6 feet, 1.5 to 2 meters. I don't expect them to reach that height in the first year, but hopefully if they survive our winters and grow on and become larger plants, then they will look more like that in the years to come. This is the tallest of the grasses that I've planted, so it's in the background behind the other plants. And sort of planted in amongst it, I've put some hollyhocks. This year they won't bloom and won't be terribly tall, but next year they make it through the winter. They should grow 5 or 6 feet tall and come up in the middle of these grasses. Then this is a dianthus, fruit punch series called Cranberry Cocktail. It only grows 8 to 10 inches tall, but as you can see it's already got lots of blossom buds, so that'll be something that should bloom for me this summer anyway. Dianthus and carnations are quite similar, in the same family, I guess, and these will be much smaller than a carnation blossom, but dianthus also has that wonderful sort of cinnamon aroma that carnations have. This is an allium, an ornamental onion, called Lavender Bubbles. I hope this blooms this year. I'm quite excited to see what it actually looks like in real life. All those little sort of pom-poms of allium flowers. This is Malva sylvestris. The variety is called Sabrina, a hollyhock mallow. I think grows fairly tall. It has lovely sort of pinkish mauve flowers. About 4 feet, I guess. I'm looking at the back of the tag here now, 60 to 120 centimeters. I think this is going to be very showy. I've had malvas before, but just sort of the plain mauve-colored ones or the white ones. This one is quite exotic looking anyway. We'll see what happens when it blooms. This is Bruneria macrophylla. The variety is called Queen of Hearts. Grown mostly for its heart-shaped foliage, but it does put up long spikes with tiny little blue blossoms on them early in the spring. And it's a shade lover. It'll go partial sunshine, so the area that I have it planted in there is shaded most of the morning, so fingers crossed that it will do okay. Well, that was the last of the ones that I want to show you, I guess. I've also got in there some of my Chinese lanterns. I have calendula and zinnias that are going to come out into here yet. The idea being, not this first year, but in 2 or 3 years' time when these plants reach maturity, there won't be any bare ground showing, or very little bare ground, which shades out the weeds and whatever and makes it easier to maintain. Well, thank you very much for watching. I'll now show you what this particular one looks like full grown. I hope the location that I've chosen is shady enough for this. It should be. It says it'll grow in partial sun, so it does get some afternoon sun, but it's in shade most of the morning. And it has a beautiful tiny little blue blossom when it blooms first thing in the spring. Well, thank you very much for watching.